one thing every video has in common, besides the fact that it needs more George Costanza memes,
Suddenly I'm looking a lot better.
is that it requires good editing. So in this video, we're gonna be going over the editor's guidebook, handbook, Bible, whatever you wanna call it, pamphlet, duotang, binder. We're going over all the top tips. But even though I edit, I'm not gonna teach this.
I am.
This is Lewis Gordon. He has cut 4 feature films, 12 short documentaries, and 30,000 videos for us within the Art of Documentary, YouTube, and all sorts of clients. And he also has put together a 50+ video course called The Perfect Cut. More on that later. But Lewis, let's jump right into this. What is the #1 tip?
My #1 point is that creativity is capped by your organization. How are you taking your footage and organizing it in folders? How are you organizing it within your software? How are you even organizing your timeline? There's systems of organization that I personally like to use that make sure that I can easily locate specific clips, specific days in the footage. My organization looks like this and never deviates no matter what project I'm working on. V1 is my A-roll tracks, V2 is any B-roll, and that's it. I might add a 3rd video layer if the certain project is really archival heavy, but I like to keep it very simple and very clean on my timeline because that enables me to be as decisive as possible. That's really important because when I see chaotic timelines, usually the edit doesn't feel very decisive. It doesn't feel like decisions are being made right on the spot.
Point number 2.
Point number 2, craft your focus statement. And there's actually a formula for this specific focus statement. In every story, you have a person doing something for a reason. Now, before you begin your edit, or maybe when you've reviewed your footage a little bit, take out a piece of paper and write down that statement. Who is this person or group of people? What are they doing? And why are they doing it? This is really important because when it comes time to start cutting things, you can look back at that piece of paper and it'll guide you into the focus of your story. If there's a piece of B-roll, you're not sure if it applies to your story or not, look at that focus statement and decide right then and there, does this apply? Does this not apply? If it doesn't, cut it. As an editor where you can work on some really long projects over time, if you aren't decisive at any point in your edit, you are just going to make your edit longer and longer and longer, and you're gonna miss very key deadlines that your producer might want to kill you about.
They will murder you and dump you in a river.
Just tell me what you want us to do.
Just finish the edit now.
And on that point about speed, another tip that I have for you is to maximize the efficiency of your software. Now, that sounds like, Winnie the Pooh in a tuxedo saying, maximize the efficiency of your software. But what I mean by that is know how to use your software so that you're using it as fast as possible. What I am saying here is know your hotkeys, know your keyboard shortcuts. Know how to do pancake editing where you take 2 timelines, you open them both up at the same time, and you drag and drop in between timelines. Use your labels really efficiently so that you know exactly what this group of footage is on your timeline. Use proxies, use even SSDs to speed up your editing.
Lewis, I have my shortcuts, but I haven't really changed them in 6 years. What are the ones that you're using?
I am the exact same as you. I have 3 custom shortcuts that I always plug in. QWE I program into doing ripple to the right edit, ripple to the left edit, and then my W key is just a straight razor blade throughout the entire timeline. That speeds me up a ton.
Did you actually know by using your mouse, you're actually using 10 to 15% more energy that you're pulling from the grid. So by actually editing on your keyboard, you're helping save the environment.
Really?
No, I just made that up. It's total BS. By the way, we have a quick sponsor for today's video, and that's none other than Lewis's course, The Perfect Cut, part of the Art of Documentary family. This course is over 50 videos in how many hours, Lewis?
I don't even want to know.
I'm pretty tired.
But Lewis takes you on the complete journey to creating the most compelling documentary that you can from the footage that you are given. He actually edits a documentary in real time throughout the entire length of the course, going into all the details from his philosophy, to how he sets up the project, to how he works in the timeline and gets through hours of dialogue the quickest way possible. And what's fun is at the end of the video, you can actually go watch the full documentary. And we've been watching people tell us that they're getting at least 3 times the editing speed out of their workflows after watching the Perfect Cut. By far, this is one of the products that people are resonating with the most in the art of documentary. Lewis makes the course fun, he's humorous, unlike me, and we're reopening the doors for the art of documentary this April. And depending when you're watching this video, we open it up a few times a year. We're always adding new videos to all of our courses, including the Perfect Cut. And before all of you DaVinci Resolve users get on me in the comments, we actually have an entire section in the Perfect Cut dedicated to DaVinci Resolve and using that software to its fullest.
And you want to know what lesson I think is one of the most important in the entire Perfect Cut course?
I would like to know.
Well, it's called the spine editing workflow. And that brings us to our next point. Our next point is that editing is process, not product. A lot of people enter an edit just thinking that it's gonna be one click of a mouse and boom, you have a perfect, exquisite rough cut right in front of you, and they get frustrated when they realize that these things take time. Edits can take weeks, they can take months, they can even take years. And I think the key to editing is not getting frustrated by how long this process takes. How do you do that? Well, you break each step of your edit into tiny little bite-sized pieces so that at the end of each day or the end of a couple days, you really feel like you're accomplishing something here. Now that's just a really quick overview of what my process looks like. In the Perfect Cut, we have at least 100 minutes of lesson about what that process is and how you can apply it to any one of your edits. And for our final point here, it is a bit of a different one. Be opinionated in your edits. I find a lot of people, when they're given footage, they interpret their role as an editor as just being a button pusher, just doing exactly what the paper edit says or tells you to do. As an editor, I think we need to avoid that. We need to avoid listening solely to your client, solely to your director, seeing what's in front of you, what the story is in the footage, what you're feeling, what kind of emotions are within the footage, and what kind of rhythm is there as well.
What I will say is that Lewis, though, is very collaborative. This isn't to say that he's being cantankerous and saying this is the way it should be done, but what I love is that you come with an opinion and it helps me as a director go, do I believe in what I wanted in this scene, or is what we're working towards improving the vision?
Yeah, I think that there's an asterisk on that. Ultimately, your director, your client is going to get final say. But I think them seeing the vision that you have helps them formulate a better story and come up with better ideas. You have opinions, you have taste, and truthfully, that's probably why they hired you for this job in the first place. So use it.
Awesome, thank you, Lewis. I'm excited. We're jumping into 2 new feature documentaries that you're gonna be cutting. If you wanna learn more how to level up your editing and to take that next step, not just to be a button pusher, as Lewis said, but as a true artist behind the keyboard, check out the Perfect Cut or keep hanging around this channel. You'll see Lewis around. We're actually gonna be releasing a couple full lessons from the Perfect Cut. We've released one recently. We'll put that in the link, and we have a new one coming out really soon, so you'll get a taste of what's to come. Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you.
Oh, classic, classic.
The director strikes again.